Howdy, Immortallium here, and a lot of people have been buying Japanese language manga, I've noticed online. NZ Anime Manga, Arctic Banana, you know, a good few other people as well. So I've been kind of interested to get my hands on something Japanese language. Not that I don't already have one, I do actually have a Ni no Kuni kind of book that is in the Japanese language and is really good to have. But anyway, but I didn't really want to buy a Japanese tankobon because in all likelihood the more popular ones will get translated at some point. And those that don't get translated, it'll be quite expensive, you know, paying for shipping and all that. So I'm kind of trying to decide to myself, what should I get? What would be, you know, more different than that? And I was thinking, you know, they don't really release any physical manga magazines over here anymore. So why not get a manga magazine? So I ordered a couple of weeks ago, but only arrived yesterday, a issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. Now, I decided that that since I've got this now, that I would actually kind of take a look through this, you know, in comparison to, you know, normal manga. Because there's a lot of manga magazines in Japan, but, you know, there's pretty much none over here. So a lot of people are aware of what manga magazines are, but, you know, they don't really have any experience with them. So I thought, why not just, you know, kind of show this off, you know, let people know what they're like, etc., etc. So yeah, the first thing I want to point out, of course, I'm sure anyone who's even just remotely interested in manga will know this, but manga is actually published in magazines in Japan before they get a tankobon release. Basically a chapter will come out, you know, maybe once every week or 2 weeks or a month, etc., etc. And people go into news stores and buy their manga magazines there and take them home. And these manga magazines are fairly cheap. They are usually about maybe like 340 yen, maybe 240 yen. Very cheap. But for that, you know, it's cheap quality paper and there's lots of advertisements, etc., etc. So anyway, let's start off with comparing this. So if I get out my trusty Yatsuba, one moment. Let's do a size comparison. Now this, I'm not sure how many of you guys are actually aware, but take a look for a size comparison between a volume of Yatsuba and Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. What a size difference, right? It is pretty much a standard magazine size, which means that the artwork is huge. So, you know, that's something that I was aware of, but it didn't really kind of ground in reality with me until I had actually gotten my hands on it. So I found that particularly fascinating. Now, before I continue on with examining this, I just want to read out a letter that I got from the person I ordered it off of eBay. I think it's a really sweet letter, but it is in broken English, so, you know, forgive him. But I really like it, so I'll read it out. Dear guests, thank you very much successful bid. I am glad to meet you. Unfortunately, English is not good at me. Please forgive me. Please check the item that was sent from Japan. And if it does not work well, please contact me. I promise that do the best job for you. At the same, I am the gift of Japan to you from me. And then he actually sent me a couple of other stuff. Made in Japan origami, or paper folding. He actually sent some origami paper. Waribashi, which is disposable wooden chopsticks, which I also have over there. Not sure when I'll be using them because my family actually does have some reusable chopsticks, so I don't know. Tumayoji, which is toothpicks, which is very cool. And please use all means. I will send together Japanese sweets also, dagashi, which I'm not much of a sweet person, so I didn't eat them, but my mother and sister took them and they really loved the taste of them, so that was very good. Please eat all means. And the product safely arrives, please let me know the feedback, because I am relieved as I arrive safely. I will continue to serve the best product and service. Great communication. Have a nice day. So even though it was kind of broken English, I think it's a really sweet letter. And it was really nice of him to send, you know, all those extras, particularly since, you know, I got this really cheap. I paid about €7 for this. No shipping costs, all the way from Japan. So, yeah, and I don't think there was any, like, import charges or, you know, anything. So, I was really impressed with the service from him. So, you know, kudos to him. So anyway, let's take a look at this. So, if we open this up, this is about 400 pages long. We have, first of all, a color page. Now, because this is apparent, this was released 2011, I think it was 12th of December. It was in the midst of the 35th anniversary of Kochikame. Now, if you're not aware of Kochikame, Kochikame is the longest manga in Japan. I guess in the world, actually, to be more specific. It's the longest manga in the world. And it is, I think, about 190 volumes. It's huge. It is not the longest running. I think Galgo 13 has that beat, but Galgo 13 is in a monthly manga, so it comes out more slowly, so there's more volumes of Kochikame. Anyway, it opens up with a very nice color page of Kochikame, written in Japanese, of course. And then we have a title page. And what it appears, as far as I can tell, of course, I'm not brilliant at reading Japanese. I'm fairly good at the hiragana. I'm kind of okay at the katakana. I'm awful at the kanji, so I can't really read this, but it appears to me like there is a kind of a special chapter of Kochikame at the beginning of this issue, and then a normal Kochikame chapter later. Anyway, there's a bunch of advertisements relating to, you know, Kochikame, and then we got a whole bunch of advertisements for other stuff. I noticed Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals are there, which, if I recall correctly, recently got announced in English. So is One Piece and Toriko. Anyway, I'm kind of interested in checking out Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals. I know it's kind of just a goofy little side, but, you know, I'll take a glance at it. Very much depending on the price, actually, come to think of it. Anyway, then we have some advertisements. This is, you know, for Naruto Shippuden Generation. There's a lot of advertisements, I'd say, in order to break even, because of the fact that even though they sell about 2.7 million copies of this per week, you know, since they're only charging so little for it, you know, 240 yen or something, or is it 340 yen? One sec. Oh, I can't remember. About that price, anyway. I'd say a lot of their revenues come from advertising. Here's a action figure, I think it is, from Final Fantasy 13-2. God, I can't even remember the name of the guy. I've played that game. It was quite enjoyable, but I can't remember the guy's name. Let me see, lots more advertising. I think here they're advertising Jump Square, but it seems to be an advertisement for TV, which is odd because I'm fairly sure Claymore wasn't airing around that time, but if you want to see, yeah. So anyway, as we progress, we got on to this. Now, this I find quite fascinating, this little card here. For those of you who are not aware, in Japan, when you get a copy of Shonen Jump, or actually most manga magazines, you get a little card. And the card has, you know, a couple of slots at the top, and Weekly Shonen Jump's case it's 3. You write in the number of the series. You can see there's their number down there, the series. The chapter you enjoyed most that week, and the people send them in, just so that, you know, the Shueisha will know, you know, what series are popular, what series are unpopular, etc., etc., and they'll know what to cancel and what to continue. If you've ever read Bakuman, you'll see how important the rankings are. So I find that quite fascinating. So anyway, here comes the first proper page of manga, which I believe is the special, the Kochikame special. It's actually quite fascinating looking at the art style from Kochikame, because Kochikame started in the 1970s, I believe. And I'd say with a little bit of adjusting for, you know, more modern tastes, it's kind of retained this very old style look. But it's very appealing. So, I think that's very cool. Let me move on to some more. After that, we got a One Piece chapter here. For anyone who's quite interested, this issue contains the chapter 647? 647 chapter. So, I'm not sure what exactly is happening. There's a lot of wacky stuff going on, in particular to do with animals and flying ships, as far as I can tell. I'm not up to date with One Piece by any stretch of the imagination, so... Oh! I think it's that one, what's it called? The Fishman arc? I don't know, Fishman arc, I think. So anyway, yeah, we got that. But one thing I want to point out, which I think is particularly cool, is that after the Naruto chapter here, we have a chapter of Bakuman, which I think is really cool because I actually have that chapter translated in this volume. Just to compare, I'm just going to show you the difference in paper quality, because people do complain about the paper quality of manga volumes all the time. Yet when you compare it to a manga magazine, the difference is like night and day. Just give me 1 sec to find the actual chapter. Almost found it. Here we go. So, as you can see, here is the manga chapter in the magazine and the manga chapter in the tankobon. Now, I'm not really sure how much you can see white levels there, but from what I can see, there's an enormous difference in paper quality between them. But it's still nice to have in the, you know, oversized manga edition, as well as the original Japanese. As you can see, they have their furigana, their katakana, the hiragana, etc, etc. So it's very nice to have. Anything else I should address? Just give me 1 sec. Oh, here's a nice color page, actually. No actual pages of Bleach here in color, but you do have this one here of Rukia. The next page is actually an advertisement for a Rukia figurine. So, just thought I'd show that off. This series, I'm actually kind of curious about, because I've never heard of this series, so I'm sure if you guys could actually tell me what series this is. But it's this one right here, with this little guy. It's obviously a gag manga. It kind of looks very different artistically. You know, it has a lot more of the, what's the term? Chibi characters, you know, the large heads and all that. Quite interesting. If I'm correct here, this I find really interesting now, because if I'm correct, this is a very early chapter of this. I believe it's actually just chapter 4 of Nisekoi. Again, I would like some confirmation on that, if any of you guys have the first volume of it, or you've been following it since. I don't know if it's got its chapter 1 in the digital Weekly Shonen Jump, but if you guys can tell me, are those 2 pages from the first volume of Nisekoi? I would love to hear that. I haven't actually bought Nisekoi yet, but it's definitely on my my radar. I hear that it's pretty much, the word on it is it's unoriginal, but it's well executed. You know, it's interesting, it's funny, it's charming. It has a nice artwork, which I can see here. So I like that. Here is again another part of the Kochikame celebrations, and that is a very long stretch of Kochikame. Now there's stuff like, I believe those are color pages that he's done up here, some character stuff which I can't read down here. Considering it's been running for about 35 years now, I'd say there would need to be a bit of an explanation as to, you know, who the characters are. And then we have a very long character sheet, as you can see. All of them given the eyebrows of Kochikame. So again, that's quite fascinating, even though I can't read it. Hopefully one day I will be able to. Now this I find quite curious. I'm assuming these will later be put into, you know, as extras into Bleach volumes, but there's some 4 coma here of Bleach, if you can see. So, just to give you a more easier look at that. Yeah, I didn't actually realize that these were actually published in the actual magazine as well. I'm assuming not always, of course, just the occasional Bleach 4 coma. But I still think that's very interesting. Now here is something that I wasn't even aware they did, and that is the Jump Animation Information Base. So here, I'm assuming every week, they advertise all the anime that Weekly Shonen Jump properties are in. So for example, I've only just recently watched this episode myself. This would be the Hunter x Hunter episode of, it was when they were waiting for your man, the unconscious guy, to get up again. Do you remember? I'm assuming that's what they're advertising. Either that or it's him getting punched out. I think it might be him getting punched out, because then I think the bottom one is actually advertising the Leo Rio for the next week's episode. But yeah, it's fascinating to take a look at what was airing around the time. You know, there was Bakuman airing, there was Nora airing. I didn't know that they actually advertised the DVDs as well. Here, there's advertisements of the Naruto and Toriko DVDs, which, considering they don't actually sell that much, I mean, I think the online statistics for DVD sales of like ongoing series like Naruto Shippuden is something like, I don't know, is it like 500 copies of volume? Now, considering they get the majority of their money through ratings and TV advertisements, it's not too bad. But I was still kind of surprised. You know, like, this sells 2.7 million copies a week, so you would think that, you know, more than 500 people would pick it up. I don't know. You know. And then we just have a couple of advertisements of food based on Shonen Jump properties. So that's something that I wasn't aware that they even did in Shonen Jump. So that was quite interesting. Here we have a color page from a series that I only just found out about yesterday. If I'm correct reading this, is it Kurogane? Is that it? Kurogane. I think that's it, but I might be wrong. It was a Karogane. It's either Kurogane or Karogane. I'm not great with the katakana. But anyway, here you can see a different change in paper quality. For one page, there is actually a blue tinge to everything, which would drive me insane, but whatever. So, yeah, I never heard about this series. I looked it up. It got cancelled. Yeah, I think it might have been Kurogane, actually. It's either Kurogane, Karogane. I can't remember which one. Anyway, point is, apparently this series got cancelled at Volume 8. Now, I don't know the quality of it, so I can't really comment. There's this other one called Magico, which I believe got cancelled even faster. There's a very fast kill rate in Shonen Jump right now. Here's some Skip Dance, Medaka Box, which, God, I was kind of wishing to myself recently after viewing one of the Forever World Let's Plays of, is it J-Stars, that Medaka Box would get translated. But having just taken a look at the images in the chapter, even though the artwork is good, it looks fan-servicey as hell. So, you know, that's kind of made me lose all interest in Medaka Box. Anyway, the other chapter that I actually have translated is a Hunter x Hunter chapter, which I think is particularly cool because considering how often Yoshihiro Togashi is on hiatus, there was a good chance that this wouldn't contain a chapter of Hunter x Hunter. So if you want another comparison between the paper quality of the actual magazine and the paper quality of the tankobon, just give me 1 second. Here we go. So here we have the magazine, and here we have the tankobon. So yeah, you should be able to see that the magazine's much more grey. This is much cleaner, more white look. It looks far better in the tankobon than the magazine. The reason for that is to keep the magazine cheap and to encourage people to buy the tankobon for the little upgrade. Then we have some Hitman Reborn, some other stuff. There's a chapter of Beelzebub in here, but what I'm more interested in is the chapter of Nura. Nura is a series that I'm definitely considering picking up. I've heard it's good. I hear it isn't exceptional, but I do hear it's good. And it's getting translated, what are they at, like 21 or 23 in terms of volumes in English? It's been finished for a long time. I don't know if it was finished or if it was cancelled in Japan, but it finished at about 25, I think, volume 25. The artwork looks nice, I must say. It looks clean, it looks quite artistic. I love the use of paneling. There's a lot of very nice diagonal works in this. From what I can see, keep in mind, this is chapter... What the hell is this chapter? 1 second, I'll find the chapter number in case any of you guys want to look up which one it is. I'm sorry, I cannot find the chapter number. Possibly because it's set in old Japan, they might choose to use the older style, you know, kanji numbering system. I'm not sure, but I can't find any Arabic numerals here. And after that, then we just have this chapter, something I have no clue about again, and then some advertising at the back. Again, if you want to see what the advertising looks like, it's mainly for Shonen Jump properties and some other stuff. And that's pretty much it. You have an advertisement on the back. I didn't actually realize it. There's this. It's this band. I'm not sure exactly what ad it is for. Maybe some upcoming concert or something. But it's the band AKB48. I didn't actually realize this. They did the soundtrack to Sugar Rush in Wreck-It Ralph, which I think is a very cool thing. You know, getting it in a big budgeted Disney movie. So good for them. I'm really happy. So anyway, that's my kind of run through of what a Weekly Shonen Jump magazine looks like. It's slightly different, of course, because of the fact that it's celebrating Kochikami's 35th anniversary. But overall, you know, it's a very nice thing to have. It's kind of battered a bit, but, you know, it's from 2 years ago. Well, actually, getting closer to 3 years ago now, come to think of it. And, you know, a lot of these magazines are considered disposable in Japan, so it's amazing that it's in good quality condition at all. I'm very happy to own this. And yeah, I'm just really happy to have this, because manga magazines do seem to be going the way of the dinosaur at this point. There's been a lot of cancellation of manga magazines recently, and kind of more of a move towards online. I guess at the end of this video, I should just explain for anyone who's kind of curious, why is it published in a manga magazine? You know, what is the benefit of being published in a manga magazine? The benefit is that it's kind of like a TV channel, in a sense. You know, you go into the TV channel for one program, but you might watch another program. It's the same with this. If you buy this magazine, you're probably going to read all the chapters in it. So if, let's say you buy it for, I don't know, you're just really into, you know, One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, I'm missing one of Hunter x Hunter, and then like they start up a new series, I don't know, Nora. You might read that and you might go to yourself, oh, you know, Nora is really interesting. You might not have had an interest in checking out Nora before, but you got a chapter with it, with this magazine, you read it, and you were like, oh yeah, cool. So basically it gives people the opportunity to try out series that they might not otherwise have come across. Which I think is a pretty cool idea. Yeah, and I think Viz are going to be kind of doing that a bit with their online digital service. They're going to do this thing, I think it's called Jumpstart. And basically, every new series that's published in Weekly Shonen Jump from now on will get at least the first 3 chapters translated, which I'm assuming the more popular ones continuing to get translated. So, you know, the fan feedback is suddenly, you know, much more important all of a sudden. But anyway, yeah, that's my video on the magazine. I really like the look of it on my shelf. It's really cool to have. And, you know, I got it cheap and everything, so I'm really happy with it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.